All right.
That's
Well,
my-
what about your encounter with the Kamakaze?
Oh, all right. We were, in that occasion, we were on the west coast of the Philippines, an island called Cebu. And now the island of Cebu is a one very, very long, well, it's like the back ribs of a giraffe or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the way down along the coast. And the coast on the other side is right down to sea level. But from the western side, it drops right off from the mountains. And those mountains are the Andes that run all up through there. Well, the Japanese had their placement on the eastern side of those mountains. The Americans were trying to push them out from the eastern side by the shore, and but that wasn't working too well. So they wanted to force them out of there, that situation, and Japanese were being squeezed then between the Americans coming up the mountains on the east and the ocean on the west. So when they spotted the American ship and these small vessels called landing craft, all a big long string of them coming up on the west side, that only say one thing: the Americans were trying to squeeze us on here, and we got to stop that. So they thought the best way to do that would be to destroy those ships that were coming up on the west side. And so a plane, a Japanese VAL, just all of a sudden just zoomed up over the top of those Andes, and they are very tall and very straight from that area. The lookout, and there are always lookouts spotted throughout the ship. That's their basic spot, to keep look around, see what, make sure we know what's happening around us. And the lookout on the starboard side of the bridge, that's the right-hand side of the bridge, called out that valve on the starboard beam. Now that means that he has spotted and identified this Japanese airplane, which we call a VAL, VAL, because we don't use the Japanese names. We couldn't pronounce it anyway. But that identifies it, and he said, well, obviously, this VAL coming up over that bridge was coming up there for only one purpose: to try to stop these people from coming up the coast and landing troops. And the best way to do that is to get rid of their protection first, and then pick off the small craft that are carrying the troops. And so that's what this one did. He was aiming at for us. And when he called out VAL on the starboard beam, there's only one way that ship can go: forward or backward, or to the right or to the left. Well, you can't go to the right because the mountains are there, the shore, and you can't speed up suddenly. These ships are not there, or stop out there anywhere. So the only way to try to avert it would be to turn to the left. And I was on the wheel, which is the steering mechanism for the ship, and I immediately turned the wheel to the left, which would take the ship out into open waters, away from the mountains, and away from that airplane that's trying to hit us. He passed over our ship where he thought it was, but we missed it. He missed it because we moved a little bit, not fast, but the ship doesn't move that fast. But he tried to hit us. And where do you hit the ship in the most vulnerable spot is the bridge.
Right.
And that's where I was.
Yeah.
So, but, and of course, the safety of the ship is involved in all that. So I immediately threw the wheel, steering the wheel, full left in order to move away from the shore a little bit and also away from where that plane was coming. And in that process, you lean a little bit as you start to turn. The ship leans a little bit, and that helps also. Those two motions interfered with what the pilot of that plane was doing. Now, he's moving very, very fast, like obviously, coming over the mountain, and there's a ship immediately is there. And so it's hard for him to change, but he attempted to change by turning his plane from level to a vertical position and hit us with his plane. When I say hit us, he didn't intend to just say, you guys move over. He came to smash his plane and himself against our ships to destroy our shell, his bombs or whatever he had in there. And it's called, this is a suicide attempt. The Japanese were attempting, because he can't stop us, he can't stand up there and say, you guys move, or anything of that kind. What he was trying to do was hit the ship in the most vulnerable spot and divert it from what we were trying to do. And it passed, because of my movement of the ship, the wheel, the ship leaned a little bit and turned a little bit, and instead of hitting the bridge, he passed by in front of my eyes, just about, I swear, it was, I could almost reach out and touch him. Perhaps it was, at this point I could have to say it was 10 feet, maybe, but that would be the most. He was very close. And at any rate, I think I could see the pilot. I still have a memory that tells me that the pilot was visible to me. He passed by the bridge then, was unable to harm our maneuvering, and on down to number 1 gun, and he struck number 1 gun. I remember just a little while ago I told you that's where I used to be.
Right.
And in number 1 gun there were the men who were there, and he crashed an airplane right into that. So I'm not sure. I think there were 7 men killed and injured and one thing or another as a result of that. It did damage the steering mechanism of the ship somewhat, and of course destroyed himself. The thing that I find remarkable about that, it was happening at that time, was the executive officer, that's the number 2 man on the ship, was over to my right, watching the chart on the desk over there where we were going. And when that happened, he vanished almost in thin air, and that fast was all down those ladders, or stairways, all the way down to that deck where he was immediately available to take charge and working on those men and helping them and setting things in order. it was a remarkable job. He was rewarded for his response and his actions, and was given a Silver Star. So there were a couple of men on the ship in that gun position who were stayed right there. They did not run away. They stayed right there to help their fellow men, right, who were injured or killed. They were in there doing that, and so, and then they threw the plane was launched into the ship, and they got hold of the tail of it and flipped it over the side into the ocean. And those,
was it on fire?
pardon?
Was the plane on fire?
No, it was not on fire.
Oh.
As far as we know, the pilot was still in there, or he may have been thrown out when he hit. I don't know when. Nobody can verify which way or another. But they pushed the plane over the side then to destroy it, and then began to carry them in with first aid, whatever they could do there, and take them to the officers' dining room, which is, and where they could, the doctor had put them on the dining room table. That became the operating room, and did what they could to save some of the men. I'm not sure how many were killed and injured. They don't, there's one thing about it, they don't give you a say, okay, over the loudspeaker or tell you anything. We got 3 men killed and 4 injured. They don't do that. They just go out, we go about our work. And so the men were taken care of, and we took care of those men, went right on in. We were approaching went right to the shore, and we left the men then, injured, into small craft, and took them over to the beach where they could get hospital care, and eventually probably go on to Hawaii and one thing. And that's where we were headed. We were coming back to the States, hopefully after that. We didn't get back for a while, but that's what we were doing. Because the ship was injured, our plans were changed, and we left our base in Milne Bay, on down to
Palau?
the islands.
Palau? You went to Palau?
Palau, at the island where you have been in your adventures. So the Palau was a major base, and they could do any repairs that we needed on our ship. And it was at that place we were tied up, and things calmed down. The awards to the officer and the men who helped on the ship, in the gun, helped their comrades, and me. For some reason, they called my name out and said, "You need to be down there for this ceremony." So I hurried around and got my better clothes on, and showed up there, and that's where I received a citation for what I did on the wheel during the action. So that's my only decoration for anything like that.
I'm so proud of you.